There's a couple of things to consider when thinking about the banks and their weights in the index right now. So one is they're a very big part of the index because they make a lot of money. So the profits really lead to that weighting. We think that through time the level of profitability will abate, but not massively. We think that there'll probably be an amelioration rather than collapse in bank profitability. So that creates a downside pressure in terms of their presence in those indices, but it's not catastrophic in itself. There's a lot of talk that then gets spoken about all the time about what about the bank crash, and whenever there's a recession in an economy anywhere in the world, in the G20, that tends to be that the banking sector bears the brunt of it, and there's no reason to believe Australia's going to be any different to that. Unfortunately, given it's 30 years since we've had the last recession, there's not a lot of recent precedents you can point to give us a guide as to what that's likely to look like. And because, of course, balance sheets are a lot more stretched now than they have been in the past, and debt's a lot more focused in the consumer sector than it has been in the past when it was mostly in the corporate sector, that also means that the shape of this cycle is a little bit difficult to calibrate with a lot of precision. Having said that, the risks are clearly skewed one way, being down rather than up from the starting point. They're not likely to make a lot more money than what they are today in the future. Having said that, from a sectoral perspective, within the sector, there are ways for us to get some diversity though. So for example, Clydesdale Bank is a bank listed on the ASX, which is wholly operational in the UK. So that whatever those circumstances are that prevail in the Australian economy, they're not likely to have a very big bearing upon Clydesdale Bank's performance. Whereas the other four major banks in Australia, of course, are all going to be very highly correlated and subject to the waxes and wanings of the domestic economy.